What it do, bitches? This is episode 95, I think, of Critical. We talked
Oh,
about a lot of
you're
stuff.
ahead.
Is it 94? I thought last week was 94.
No, last week was 93.
Hold on.
You did say
Okay, to the
94
link
though.
tree. Did I? Okay, hold on. Hold on. Because it just, damn it. Okay, whatever. It's Critical. I'm Mongo, joined as always by my co-host, Liger Busa. I cannot find our podcast. Oh, I found the link tree. God bless. Uh, let's take a gander here. I'm sure this is riveting audio to kick us off. I'm in no way
There's
trying to
also
stall talk about. Oh, what's up?
there's a problem with the YouTube where I'll put up the video go up automatically, and then I'll make it public and then it'll set itself to private. And I don't know why it does that. I think I've maybe found a fix for it, but we'll see.
Okay, so this is 94. Last week was 93. Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, regardless, we're in the 90s, although not literally. I
not
kind of
really.
wish
Yeah.
we were. This week we're talking HAL Wrestling and pro wrestling and HAL Wrestling because pro wrestling came out first, but HAL Wrestling is also called pro wrestling in Japan. Um, Not as eventful as the last stretch between the two episodes where we recorded, but a lot of stuff to talk about this week. But first, how are you this week?
I'm alright. It's been a messy week though. So this is a very, very old house and there's not like any real insulation in it. Like when we first moved, when the guy, like the home inspector, looked at it, he's like, "Yeah, there is." And then someone else came later, and she's like, "No, there isn't. There's like a little bit of fiberglass on one side, and then that's about it." So, for a while now, they've been putting this foam into the house, into like the crawl space and stuff, and they've been doing this for a while. And they just came back this week, and they were putting it in, and they cut a wire which ended up being the wire to the living room, so we had no internet or anything, and that was fun. Um,
Jesus.
so they had an electrician come in and he fixed it, and he put some like holes in the wall. He had to do that to get it fixed. They came back the next day, um, and they were putting the foam in, and I wasn't around. But apparently, like I don't know if it was through the holes that were now covered up, but or if it was like through the heat pump or whatever. But apparently, all this foam started coming into the living room, and like the couches were covered, the tables. My dad was apparently covered in it. It just went everywhere. So they cleaned it up, and like the TV stand was covered in it, and the TV stand's been cleaned, but it still doesn't come off. So like it's just foam like all over the place. And
Jesus.
they ended up cutting another wire, which was the lights for the upstairs bathroom. So you have to use the bathroom and the dog if you go upstairs now. So it's been like a bit of a mess, but other than that, it's been alright. I know you've had some annoyances this week, but how was your week overall?
It was all right. I mean, mostly just work related drama because I can't really get into it because I know the creep that got fired still specifically told people he was going to see if I said anything about the thing that happened a couple of weeks ago that also caused a bunch of drama for me at work.
Dude's got to
So
do something better with this time.
yeah, like I appreciate the click or the download or the listen or whatever, but Jesus Christ, man, you get a life. Um,
Yeah, you can like watch television or something.
yeah, watch Cheers on Paramount Plus.
There you go. Hope
We're
we
not a
get paid
partner.
for
I
it.
just Mom has Cheers on all the time, and I'm never going to complain about having that show on in the living
There you
room.
go.
Um, but yeah, just people in positions of power not being willing to face people when they do things that adversely affect their livelihood and employment.
Hmm.
It just that's as thinly veiled as I can make it. A couple of the people that listen to the show have already heard me kind of sort of bitch about it. I got roped into it too and was real mad about stuff on Thursday and Friday. And then, I got my Nightmare on Elm Street 4K collection. The standard set, unfortunately, I did have to cancel my pre-order for the Steelbook because wasn't going to have the money for it. And honestly, if the only difference were the Steelbooks, which I thought looked cool, but they didn't look as good as the the old DVD box set. Like, I'm fine with just having the standard set, but I did get it early. I got it on Friday, and I'll talk about it later. It was well worth the money. But I just sat and I watched those movies, and I played some video games, and I just was like, I don't fucking care. So if anybody mentions my name when certain people in management get confronted tomorrow, I'm just gonna be like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Uh, Other than that, like, business as usual. I was kind of stoked to see Mondo finally put up the 1/12 scale Masters of the Universe figures. Was not stoked to see the price. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that. Those figures look fucking amazing though. Just yeah, kind of like a normal week. I do appreciate, because you mentioned this off air last week. I appreciate everybody that was like, "Hey, what the fuck happened to him?" I might have even said this last week too. A lot of work related drama and a lot of just insanity on social media. And I like Blue Sky when things are cool. When they're not, it's just such an aggressively fucking miserable platform. And I'm already an aggressively miserable person in the first place. I don't need to fucking add to it. You know what I mean?
It's just everywhere, right? Like all social media right now is just like a disease. It just feels like no matter where you go, there's a tremendous amount of bullshit going on. I guess the only one for me that isn't is like Snapchat, because no one really goes on there anymore. Like I don't hear from anyone except for like one friend, and that's it. And like I guess Instagram is just like my place for stupid videos. Like I see like the dumbest things on there, but other than that, like Facebook, there's drama on there sometimes, and like X, of course, is like the worst place you can be in the world, and Blue Sky at times as well. Like no one to me directly, but I see stuff on there. But yeah, social media shit. Everyone should just get off it at some point.
We very much need to fucking bring back forums.
Yeah,
Like, I miss the days when you had to register an account for every stupid interest you had, because it made
hmm
you take inventory of how much you actually wanted to talk about certain things. Um, but we're talking about pro wrestling for the NES and HAL Wrestling. We're a Fire Pro podcast, so it's probably worth noting that Masuda, the guy behind Fire Pro Wrestling for the NES was his first pro wrestling game, published
Yep.
by Nintendo. Originally a Famicom Disk System game with a way cooler cover than it ever got on the NES. It's just a big old fake Inoki. Uh, I remember looking this up once, and on Wikipedia it claims that this was like the number one selling game in America for a few months in 1987. Which, given how hot wrestling was at the time, I fucking believe it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's one of those games that it felt like everyone had.
yeah, yeah, for real. Everybody I knew that had an NES had a copy of this,
Yeah.
and I mean, look up gameplay footage of this if you're one of the few people listening to this that have never played it. It looks like Fire Pro. It's not isometric, but like it's the standard straight ahead camera angle. The jumping spin kick that is in the early Fire Pro games is here. The way they grapple, the general stance, the feel of the gameplay also just carries over into the early Fire Pro games as well. Um, and you get a roster of ripoffs, much like Fire Pro. You have Fighter Hayabusa, which is Antonio Inoki. Giant Panther has been debated like for years who that's supposed to be. Uh, King Slender also. I've always thought the character select portrait for him looked like Flair, kind of. Mainly
Yeah.
the hair. King Corn Karn, which is obviously Killer Khan. You have Starman, which is the stand-in for like Mil Mascaras. You have the Amazon, and then you have the boss character, which is like Final Form Tiger Mask, I guess is the idea there.
hmm
This game is a lot of fun. I also just password systems don't work so well for me, so on anything I use save states, which I know makes me a bitch. It's fine. I'm okay with it. Um, this is also the game where the infamous "a winner is you" comes from. So
Right.
if you've ever seen somebody using that because they think the old like days of poorly localized video games is like funny, that's where it comes from. There's really not a lot to talk about with this game. Like grapple, wait a second, press a button. Um, Graphically, it does look nice for an NES game, or just in general. You have a cameraman following the action outside the ring. There's like fairly detailed crowd, much more detailed than obviously something like WrestleMania, where you're having empty arena matches.
Yeah, you've got commentators as well.
Yeah, yeah, they nailed the presentation of this game, and everybody
And the
looks
music's
distinct.
great.
Yes, yeah, the music's really good. Um, Everybody's distinct, but everybody's also just kind of the same sprite with a different head, like old Fire Pro. Like
Yeah.
different colors too, but like it's very easy to take one look at this and see where all of the later stuff comes from. I feel like it goes without saying, like if you're any sort of wrestling fan, you need to play this game at least once.
Like I said before, it felt like everyone had it, so I feel like everyone has played it. You know, it's hard to imagine anyone from our like generation or age group hasn't played this. Um, and it's something I've talked about before, but I think it's sad how I feel like Nintendo hasn't taken advantage of its legacy and the fact that everyone owned it because they haven't done anything. They haven't done a wrestling game since, and it just feels like those characters were kind of iconic to people around the time. Like everyone used Starman and Amazon, and I think there was something there that they could have, taken advantage of. Maybe even put them in like Punch Out or something like that would have been cool. But they never really have done anything with them. Um, so yeah. But like in regards to the game itself, I think it's very important to wrestling games historically for what it would lead to, which is obviously like Fire Pro. Um, More so than the game itself. I mean, the game itself is good. I mean, it's fun to play, but compared to what would come out of it, it's the first steps of that, and I think that's where the game is serve its most importance.
I agree. Um, I don't think this is the best wrestling game on the NES, though. I'd probably, if I
Tecmo,
just gun to my head right now, yeah, it would be that.
yeah, Pokemon Club might
Because
be better than this.
it's really close. Yeah, I love the shifting perspective in Tokon Club, and I honestly do kind of like the art style better.
Yeah.
So I would probably give the nod to Tokon Club. Who's your favorite character in the game? Mine's probably pretty obvious.
Oh, mine was always Starman from when I was a kid. That drop kick where he like goes over top. I don't know how to explain it, but he does a drop kick and then he like moonsaults backward basically. It was always
The
something that
old
I would
Paul
use as
London
a
drop salt,
yeah, yeah.
kind of.
That was something I would always use as a kid. And also just as a look. Like that was such a cool look when you're a kid.
He did look cool. My favorite's Spider Hayabusa. When I was a little kid,
Yeah,
though,
of
it was
course.
the Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon was cool because he used to bait the shit out of people.
Yeah,
And that was
he's.
cool as shit.
I wish these characters could show up again in Punch Out, or God forbid, if people could have gotten what they were crying about for years, and I don't mean to say it like that, if people got what they were begging for years, imagine if Fire Pro got that Switch port and we got the pro wrestling characters as like bonus
Yeah, that'd
characters.
be crazy.
That would have been a nice nod to a game that, again, everybody of a certain generation has fucking played.
Did
Um,
did this show up in like any of the WarioWare stuff? Because I feel like there was a Fire Pro ripoff in one of those games.
there is a Fire Pro ripoff, I'm pretty sure, but I don't know if this did.
Hmm. Isn't that interesting though? Like again, not taking advantage of this game, and you have WarioWare and you do something that's more like Fire Pro than this. Just seems strange.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder if something happened where like maybe they wanted Human to be like an in-house developer, and they
Yeah,
they
maybe.
did the game for the PC Engine, and it kind of. Well, no, because I mean, they still published like 8 million Super Fire Pro games, but it might have
Hmm.
been a thing where they wanted those all to be. I mean, they were basically exclusives, but maybe they just didn't want Human doing outside shit. I don't know,
Yeah, I don't know.
but I like this game. I also think HAL Wrestling is a much better game, flat out. This came out in 1990, December 1990 in the U.S., September 1990 in Japan. Uh, I feel like this has a lot more in common with a Fire Pro than pro wrestling because the ripoffs here are a little bit more direct. Like
Yeah.
you have, I mean, they tell you people's finishers on the select screen, so like it's obvious. Like there's a Choshu ripoff, a Hansen ripoff, there's a Brody ripoff, a Liger ripoff, a Maeda ripoff, an Inoki ripoff, a Vader ripoff. There's a Road Warrior ripoff, but he's got like a power bomb for a finisher. Um, this game keeps a lot of the like presentation stuff from pro wrestling, but it takes out the cameraman and the commentary team. Same camera perspective. The sprites are similar in how they're drawn. There's a decent amount of detail. Any counts or whatever appear on the ring skirt, which was commonplace in Game Boy wrestling games, honestly.
Mhm.
I've beaten this game a couple of times. It is kind of sort of difficult. My favorite thing about this game, though, is you go on GameFAQs, like you look up the move sets for these characters, and there's like it's like pile drivers and power bombs and backdrops and shit that weren't really commonplace in American wrestling games, especially Game Boy games. This is the first one, but
Right.
like there were console games that didn't have some of these moves for like a considerable amount of time in the
Yeah, that's
US, like
true.
until like Natsume.
Yeah, it's definitely like a very Japanese-based game, not just the wrestlers, but like the move sets as well.
Yeah, like there's a fucking capture suplex in this game, obviously, because there's a Maeda, ripoff. There's like Liger's got a spinning wheel kick. He's got a German suplex. Like these move sets have a lot of really neat stuff that the WWF and WCW games wouldn't. The WWF games wouldn't have a German suplex for a very long time, and the WCW games didn't until they had Japanese developers.
Yeah, that's right.
Because like,
But
is
I
there a
mean,
German suplex in Attitude?
maybe I think I want to say yes, but I can't see that with complete certainty.
Like, I'd have to go back and look, but you know what, there might be. I'm because like Owen Hart would do one,
That's what I was thinking.
but the
Yeah,
fact that it's such a toss up, like, did the WWF games have German suplexes before fucking WrestleMania 2000 and SmackDown? Tells you a lot about American wrestling video game development.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. And sometimes you had stuff like Super Brawl where they would have moves and you couldn't sometimes tell what exactly they were going for in those games.
yeah, God bless Beam Software. They really did one with that game. But I love this game. It's a ton of fun. I played a little bit of it this week. Like I told you before we started recording, I could go years without touching either of these games, and like everything's still fresh in my memory. I have a complete in box copy of HAL Wrestling I got, I want to say in like 2010, maybe for like $10 on eBay. I still have my original Game Boy that I got like 30 years ago, and sometimes I will just throw batteries in that and fire up HAL Wrestling just for the bit. Um, this game rocks. It's the best game that we got released in the US until like fucking Natsume Championship Wrestling, and that's what, 4 years later.
It sounds about right. Yeah.
I'm honestly very comfortable in saying this is better than any licensed wrestling game we got in the States until like WCW versus the World. Like this game plays better than any of the acclaimed WWF games. It plays better than Super Brawl. It plays better than Main Event. It plays better than every WWF NES game. It plays better than the one WCW NES game.
It was a bit difficult for me being a Game Boy game, especially like a wrestling game. If it's something like Tetris or something, like I don't have trouble going back to that, but like something like this is a bit more harder for me to get used to. And also it just feels weird, like a wrestling game at this point having two buttons. But obviously, I mean, that's a Game Boy. What could you do? So in that aspect, I was just like, it's a bit hard for me to get used to. Also, the difficulty, I found it quite difficult. But I mean, it was for what they had at the time. I mean, they did a pretty damn good job, as you said, like the different movesets and stuff, like far superior to anything else that was going on in the US. And
And I love the sprites, like the little Vader ripoff guy. Like
yeah,
I love the way everything looks in this game. What a
but it
game.
also one thing that it brings me back to is, like, how sad it is that, back then and this would go on for quite a number of years, you'd had all these unlicensed products, and now we can't get shit, it's sad.
Yeah, I part of it's probably the health of Japanese wrestling in general. Part of it's also just development costs
Yeah,
have
definitely.
skyrocketed. But
Yeah,
like, I think there's a market in Japan if you make a wrestling game with unlicensed characters, but also increased graphical fidelity has made it harder. Because if you're going to do a wrestling game with fake characters now, because of how Japan's copyright laws have changed, you can't really have like a fucking like a fighter Hayabusa or a Victory Musashi
right.
anymore,
Yeah.
which also rears its ugly head in the Suda 51 DLC for Fire Pro World because now Akira Saeba is Grateful Saeba, and he's no longer Akira Maeda. He's like a dude that talks like an Italian,
Yeah,
which I
weird.
thought was hilarious because it just I imagine Maeda in like Wrestle Kingdom 2 walking up to the Spider-Man 2 pizza mission music. There's a fucking mod somebody needs to do. That's a mod I would
Yeah,
be happy with.
you're right, like, obviously, they can't do things how they used to, but, I think it's just depressing when you really think about it, and it's also something else that we've just talked about at length, but, like, how much better it used to be and how you had choice, and, that was taking away from us, and we talked about before too, like, how it applies to sports games and how the choice has gone there, it's the business sucks.
Yeah. I I hope something happens with AEW, and I hope, and I honestly think Fight Forever coming in at like slightly disappointing numbers might have actually hurt the chance for some things. Because
Yeah,
I was saying it going into that game's release. If Fight Forever does well, it might you know it might pique the curiosity of some of these publishers. Like, wait, it's a relatively inexpensive genre to develop for because it is. You don't need a AAA budget to make a good wrestling game, and I can point to several games that are sitting right next to me with the name Fire Pro Wrestling. You don't need a AAA budget. You don't really even need like a AA budget. You could cheap the fuck out. Fire Pro World. They didn't spend a lot of money on that fucking thing. It's like one of the best games ever. So like if Fight Forever could have done a little bit better, I I feel definitely like some of these indie projects might have gotten some like feelers from publishers, and maybe because it didn't, you know what I mean, like it might have I don't want to say poisoned the well, but you know what I mean.
yeah, I get what you mean. I don't know if you've seen it, but, like, there's an X account called AEW Mod Forever, that's adding, like, a whole shitload of mods to the game and updates and stuff like
Are
that.
they adding moves?
I don't believe so. I might be wrong, but I don't think so. Obviously, that's something that's really needed. But there's like people still trying to draw attention to that game and
It's a really
yeah.
good fucking game. It's just they prioritized the wrong shit, and it left us with a game that's kind of hollow. But like the
Yeah,
actual like
exactly.
minute by minute gameplay fucking smokes anything 2K's ever put out.
Yeah.
Like one of
But
my friends told me like they can't get into Fight Forever, but they really love 2K25, and I was like, what makes 2K25 better? And it literally just, well, the graphics are more realistic. I was like, okay, but then the bell rings. How do you like that? And I couldn't get a straight answer. And I was like, okay, well, when the bell rings in Fight Forever, you actually there's shit you can do. It's not like you don't have to memorize button combos at Fight Forever. You do in
right.
2K. Like we did circle around to the fucking Acclaim games again, where like you have to pause your fucking shit to see what combos you have. And also like that bleeds so hard into Showcase. I haven't played this year's game, but like do a combo ending in a grapple. Well, fuck, gotta hit pause. Okay, Brett's got an X square circle combo. Just
I
fucking do that.
think
You're just inputting combos. You're not even having a match.
I find like they're all the same though. Like I can press like square, square, X, circle, and that ends up being like a grapple combo or whatever, right?
One thing I've noticed is the smaller guys seem to have a lot of the same button combos, and the bigger guys don't have some of the same combos.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in Warzone and Attitude in the ECW games. Once you knew that like up, down, up, circle did something for like certain characters, you would just try it with everybody.
Yeah,
Like I know
outside of like showcase, I wouldn't even use combos because I feel like I just don't like
they're
them.
such a huge part of the gameplay. That's
And
the
it's
unfortunate thing.
it's weird too. It's like what made them want to add something like this?
Because they had people come in with different philosophies, and honestly, they did need to do something different after 2K20. But here's an interesting thing to consider. Those same strike combos that lead into grapples were also heavily incentivized in the previous incarnation of the 2K games.
Right.
Like if you played those games, you would do the three punches and then, oh, they're stunned, I'm going to do a grapple.
Hmm.
Like that's I might have left the freezer door open. Whoops. It's a hell of a thing to realize 20 minutes into a podcast. But I just I don't like the way those games play. I don't like the way they feel. They look very nice for some of the characters. Some of them look like shit. I guess it's just what you got to get used to. I mean, it was the same with the THQ games too.
Yeah.
Even when they had access to the Jack specific like head scan data, the character models were still a massive fucking toss up sometimes. But I wish we could get more wrestling games out. I wish there was money out there so that people could have actual dev teams too. But
Yeah.
with
That's
budgets come overinflated teams, and it's I don't know. We're in hell.
we need someone with a hell of a lot of money, like a ridiculous amount of money that really loves wrestling games and is just like, fuck it. I'm hiring a team and we're doing it. I mean, there's people that like there's like developers at studios that like obviously wrestling fans and stuff, but they just can't get. I'm sure like even if they went up to like the head of the company and was just like we want to make a wrestling game, like you're probably not going to get it, right? You'd have to be the head of the company yourself. And it's funny, like you see stuff like in the past, like how like Saints Row, for example, had so much wrestling content in it and had like Piper in it and Hogan and stuff, and it's like you feel like maybe that team could have done something, and like if things were in a better place, but like obviously that wasn't something that happened, and you see wrestling stuff in other games too, and there's obviously just a love for it from people, but they're not going to get that chance to actually develop one, and it sucks. It really, really sucks.
Yeah. I There's a part of me that wishes AEW didn't go the route that they did with their game. Like I understand wanting to self fund it so you have more control over what it would become.
Hmm.
But I think the ideal thing would have been from the start, you fucking find a publisher and then you recommend you as the developer.
Yeah.
Because that would take all of the burden off of the AEW game side that, as we've documented for years now, kind of didn't have a fucking clue what they were doing. Like they knew what they wanted. They brought Iwashita in to kind of help them get there, but we've said it a bunch. They needed Sanders Keel, they needed Corey Ledesma, they needed fucking Aubrey Edwards, just somebody to keep things on the rails. And I maybe when that sequel happens, if it's not an if, it's they're gonna do another one at some point. But
I
like
mean,
they need to
I
have
think
Aubrey as the project lead.
I think you have to, right? Like it's video games are like one of those things where to be seen as a success is like something that you eventually at some point need. Um,
Yes.
and if you can do it properly, then you're gonna find a market for it. I think we brought it up before, but like going with Fire Pro, they had the opportunity of doing something different. And you looked at the other games, like their mobile games and stuff, it felt like a lot more open than WWE is. And I know WWE's got like mobile games and shit like that. But I think with AEW and the way they do business, you had an opportunity for them to expand themselves in other ways that WWE doesn't. And I think like an AEW pack for Fight Forever, for Fire Pro, sorry, but also having like Fight Forever and AEW sprinkled out here and there would have been maybe a way to do things. It also helps build your brand name with other companies. Um, but yeah, they just took off their own thing and didn't work out.
No, and I mean, one of the like it's been established for almost 40 years now. One of the core pillars of any wrestling company is merchandise, video games, and action figures, baby.
Yep.
Get the kids hooked.
I
And
still don't understand how like you can have like Kenny in Street Fighter commercials and there's nothing AEW. You know, it just that sort of stuff like just boggles my mind. And it's like he was at TGS and he's like, thanks to Square Enix, and it's like, dude, you have all these connections. Like, and he met with the guys behind Like a Dragon, and he was in Ishin as a card, and it's like, why is it always like Kenny Omega independently in these products when he's one of the founders of AEW? I don't get that.
because those guys are all figureheads now, is probably
Yeah,
what it is.
it's just like but he works for the company. You think like maybe you could do something to have some representation there, but it's always just Kenny himself, right? It just feels weird to me.
Square Enix rolling out a budget for a wrestling game in the modern era would be something.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Um, there's some action figure news I guess we can get into. Um, so I mentioned the Tiffany Stratton Ultimate last week and was like, I'm probably not going to get it. Anyway, I watched a video review of it because someone sent me a screenshot from the Mattel Steve thread on Wrestling Figs talking about the new articulation. And I was like, what new articulation? It looks like a regular Ultimate. Apparently, they've rolled out doing the ball jointed, like lower waist thing that the AEW figures are doing. And it's going to be trickled out slowly over time, which I think is kind of just fucking do it now. Like, push that shit out now. It's huge cost up front, but it's gonna prevent collectors from getting pissed off later on when it's like, oh, here's Eddie Guerrero 2 years later with the new articulation scheme. Well, fuck you. I just bought that same figure 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, but I made the comment to you that it's very interesting with that new articulation and the disc hinge in the neck, like the AEW figures. In a couple of years, those ultimates are basically just going to be AEW Supremes with drop down hips,
Yeah, it's a funny thing to
which
think about.
highlights. Yeah, it's amazing to me how Jazzwares bungled every lead they had over Mattel in terms of like the quality of the figures. They had the diaphragm joints and the ball jointed waist and double jointed elbows as standard on every figure from day one. And within like a year, Mattel started doing double jointed elbows. They improved the paint apps on the elites. Likenesses started getting better, probably due to the paint app improvements. And the AEW line just kind of fucking wallowed around in its own shit. There's still good AEW figures. That Supreme Osprey is fucking incredible.
Hmm.
But you look at that Tiffany Stratton Ultimate, and it's like, if this is the future of what that line's going to look like, they're going to be putting out some really incredible shit.
Yeah.
One thing I want to note, though, is the only figures that it looks like this is being implemented on in the immediate future are Tiffany Stratton, the single carded Rhea Ripley, so not the one that comes with the ring, and Chelsea Green. And I listen, I know there's a lot of guys in that major pod group that talk about how horny they are for Chelsea Green because they
Oh
think Matt
God.
Cardona is going to be their buddy. I do
That
not understand how, given the
that's
current like economic, gone.
no, that's just weird. Like,
It is, yeah. Like people posting like fucking horny reactions to like her Instagram stories in that group. I'm not in that group anymore, but they were sure shit doing it before. I don't know who the market for that figure is going to be, especially given the current like economic and retail landscape. Like with the elites going up to $26 at Target, it's assumed the ultimates are going to be going up to 36. You're not selling a Chelsea fucking Green figure for $36. I'm sorry, you're just not.
yeah.
And we don't know for sure what wave she's coming in. I think I read it's Series 30 with the Hulk Hogan they showed at Comic Con,
Mm,
and I think maybe Seth Rollins. Uh, but if I were Mattel, Lord knows I'm not, I would be working on the new lower torso pieces for fucking everybody. I would have that shit in the line by the end of 2026 on everybody.
yeah,
But
for sure.
it's, we're going to roll it out slowly over time across all Ultimates. Doesn't give me a lot of faith. It's also really weird to only implement that on women's figures up front. Like, I'm glad it's being implemented, but like, you have a new John Cena coming out. You have, and he was only in render form at Comic Con, so like, there's still time. You have a new like Randy Orton. There's a new Hulk Hogan coming out. You think that articulation and the drop down hips wouldn't massively improve Hulk Hogan figures for figure
Mm,
photography's sake?
yeah.
But you're doing it for fucking Chelsea Green. And granted, that's just based on renders. We haven't seen these things in actual like plastic yet. And Steve himself had said he hasn't seen the Rhea Ripley or the Chelsea Green yet to know for sure if the new articulation's been implemented. But like, doing that for Chelsea Green and not somebody who's actually going to sell a bunch of figures is nuts. Absolutely fucking nuts. Um, Epic Toys announced they have like a U.S. distributor now, so you'll be ordering through their website if you're in the U.S. But like the packages will ship from the U.S. and not the U.K., which that's cool. I mean, I liked giving figure collections my business. I like the guy who runs that website. Does this improve the situation for Canada at all? Do you know?
Probably not. I think, um, I don't know. I don't know exactly, but whenever you talk about like shipping from the US, it's like, oh, I was a bit nervous. Not that I've been like charged any extra when I've gotten anything, but it's just like you're always just like, what's the situation? But it's cool. I mean, that they have their own thing in the US now. I mean, I don't know if they've talked about doing like exclusives for that shop or anything, but I mean, it's Epic, so everything that they put out's like pretty damn good quality. So
Yeah, it's amazing how like far they've come from picking up the ball from like Cella.
yeah, the one thing that I'm kind of disappointed in is that they never continued like they had mentioned at one point like a UK Legends line, and they never really continued that after like Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks from Chella. I would have liked to have seen like Nakasaki and a few others.
Oh, right, because Adrian Street was part of that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, I totally fucking forgot about that.
yeah, it'd
Um,
be nice to see.
there was some wording that made it seem like there might be U.S. exclusives, but I think they clarified that it doesn't.
Mm,
We saw a Killer Bees variant with, and this is like a deep cut because you either have to be from the UK or a tape trader, but their carding is based on the old like Silver Vision WrestleMania, like purple lightning with like a picture in the middle. It
right.
honestly looks exactly like the fucking WrestleMania 6 box art we got in the US.
Yeah, that's what I immediately thought of.
Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, that's weird. And then I looked a little closer and I was like, oh, Silver Vision. I get it.
Pretty cool.
Um,
Something different.
yeah, it's a very deep cut, which I appreciate. I don't think I need the Killer Bees, honestly. And I don't think the Islanders look cool, but I'm only really interested if they do another pass at King Haku.
Hmm.
So I probably won't grab those. Nasty Boys, like the black shirt nasties, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to get those, like for sure.
Yeah. Did
Um,
you see the Russell Feds Savage renders?
no, I completely forgot that line existed.
Yeah.
Uh, all
I
right,
mean
well, I'm gonna look it up now.
the renders look pretty good. But he's got like one hand that's like in the sort of like, I don't know how you explain it, like a hand signal, and I'm
I
just
like the
not sure.
pointing.
Not like the pointing, it's more like a like I don't want to say like devil horns, but like something like that. Not like an NWO
Oh,
too sweet, but
yeah, that's strange.
yeah, I'm not sure
I'm
about
looking at
that.
it
But
now.
I think everything else looks pretty good.
I So does he have articulation or no?
I'm not sure. I think they were undecided. If I remember, if it was them, if I'm thinking of them, they were talking about where the articulation should be. I feel like there was a story about that.
These look cool, but like some of them have different hands. Like the Mania 3 and 5 ones have like a fist and then like the devil horn shit going on, and then
Mm.
the Mania 4 one he's just pointing.
How many savages do you think there is now?
I mean, Mitch blows up the whole fucking count, right? He's like fucking 30,
Yeah,
it feels. Yeah, I don't know. Has there been an update on the Regium line? Because apparently, uh, the retros are going up a little bit in price, and
I don't think I've seen anything about that.
I've seen some apprehension about how much those Regium. Yeah, it's like $55 now. What the fuck?
Oof.
I'm sorry. Look, I wanted a Quang figure really bad when I was like 4. I'm not paying $56, even if it is free shipping. That
Yeah,
is
that's a
fucking
bit much.
lunacy. Yeah, and I know Zombie updated his website. The Pinnacle collection are still slated to ship between November and December. Now, whether that happens or not,
We'll see.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's really ambitious at this point because, like, think of how busy the fucking ports and shit are going to be.
yeah, it's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, I genuinely would not complain if it was like a quarter 1 thing just for the sake of when it's that time of year, packages get lost super easily. And yeah, Men on a
Is
Mission are
it
still up for pre-order. Also,
is it Title Run that's doing the Adrian Adonis? Because they showed off that as well.
yeah. So the Adrian Adonis looks cool. I
Yeah,
wish it was a different version of Adrian Adonis,
yeah, I get you.
but it looks really good. Their sculpts have gotten significantly better, like from the first series. The That first series did not look great. They were a little too cartoony and overly stylized. But like this, the Johnny B. Bad, I think they've shown off Beverly Brothers renders too.
It
Um,
feels like they all go through like growing pains, right? Like I don't think Zombie really went through it, but obviously with like Epic coming from Chella and stuff like that, they always go through like this thing of where like they're not 100% there, and then they just figure it out.
yeah, like all of these lines basically have like a little ugly duckling phase,
Yeah, exactly.
and I really like that Johnny B. Bad, and it would be very tempting once I see like an actual like prototype of that,
They've
just
they've got
because.
they've got
Oh,
free
what?
shipping to Canada, so they're like always on my radar.
The Beverly Brothers look nice. I think these are the exact same poses that Chella are doing now. From Series 2, we still need to see the renders of Harley Race. There's 2 versions because there's a bloody one. And Nikita Koloff. According to Wrestling Figure Database, there's an unreleased Brian Adams retro that's clearly based on Chronic.
Huh.
So I'm assuming him getting a WWE Legends deal kind of kiboshed that.
When does that happen?
I don't know, but it's on Wrestling Figure Database that there's like unreleased Brian Clark and Brian Adams figures.
But I mean, like the
And I
Brian
don't.
Adams WWE deal.
I mean, they showed off Crush figures at Comic Con.
Right, was it just you've got to remind me because my brain's scattered, but was it just Demolition Crush, right? Or was it other stuff?
No, Kona Crush is in the Legends line,
Right.
and he looks like
Right, right,
shit.
right. I remember now, yeah. Wasn't I thought like Brian Clark was in charge of Brian Adams stuff.
Apparently not, because his son confirmed that they signed the Legends deal. I think Brian Clark got the trademarks to Crush and Chronic, but I'm pretty sure if he tries to contest that, he's at least the Crush thing. I'm pretty sure he's getting dog walked in court
Yeah.
because he doesn't have anything to do. Like he never portrayed Crush or any of that. Like Adam Bomb, he would probably have a little bit of an easier time with. I still don't think though, because like I don't think it would go that far though, because like WWF still commissioned the design for it. But yeah, we still need to see Nikita Koloff in both Harley Race versions. I don't know when these are supposed to go up for pre-order. We saw a carded render of Mike McGurk recently. She's part of the same run-in series as the Jumping Bomb Angels, which is they're like smaller run size series that are going to just be an in-stock drop.
I feel like I have to get those. Like I
The,
feel
the renders look really fucking good.
like Jumping Bomb Angels. I remember as a kid watching like the best of the WWF and watching their matches with the Glamour Girls, and I really enjoyed them as a kid. You know, when women's wrestling wasn't the focal point at all. So I feel like those figures are just like something that you wouldn't expect. That I'm like really like I really want to get those. And Mike McGurk and like the WrestleFest look is like I think we talked about it. Like she would complete the WrestleFest set like of because everyone else is already out there. So like I feel like I kind of need to get that as well.
The Mike McGurk figure also just kind of looks really cool. And the
Yeah,
one that's from WrestleFest has like the lasers in the background that kind of looks like the old WrestleFest print ad and the side of the arcade machine.
yeah, they've done a really good job on that.
Yeah, they've gotten a lot better. Like looking at this first series, like that Danny Davis and the Ernest Miller, those are bad.
Yeah, and this is the importance of like independent lines. This is what I wish would make its way over to video games is look at the work that's been put into these lines. Like, you know, we've talked a lot about like the retros and whether you think that the Mattel was supposed to be like the old Hasbro or one thing, whatever the case, the independent lines are still much better quality than what they're putting out.
Yes,
And you look at
agreed.
all this, you think of stuff like Zombie Sailor and his figures and all this cool stuff that's being done. We need this to bleed over to video games because you know, WWE is you're only getting 2K, right? And you can't trust them to do everyone correctly, or even anyone really. Like the
I
movesets are
was
going to
gonna
be fucked
say,
up. If the faces aren't fucked up, then the movesets are going to be fucked up. But the music's missing, whatever the case might be. So we
and
need
sometimes it's
independent.
all three.
Yeah, exactly. So we need independent companies like this who really show care and you know really respect the wrestlers that they have. I mean, Christ Almighty, please somebody do something, get us out of this hellhole.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I wish somebody had the money to just. We need somebody who has the ability to just piss away a shit ton of money at this
Yeah.
point. Like you were saying, like just one motherfucker who can just take a look at everybody that Zombie Sailor has signed and go, all right, let's make like if you take a look at just who Heels and Faces has listed on the website for like the
Hmm.
talent they have signed, that's already like an incredible fucking roster. You have Flair, you have Savage, you have Andre, you have fucking the Road Warriors and Pillman and Abdullah the Butcher and Bruiser Brody and all of these other like names. And I I would buy a video game with just that roster. Like I wouldn't even really complain too hard if there was no DLC. Like I'd have most of the people I want right there. Kevin Sullivan, another guy.
Yeah.
One of these lines needs to sign fucking Eddie Gilbert, though.
Why do I
I
feel
don't
like
know
he
how
was mentioned somewhere at one point?
I don't remember. I mean, given like Zombie doing a bunch of ECW guys, that would be kind of like the perfect fit. I would, Epic doing Eddie Gilbert would be really fucking cool.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're willing to do a goddamn Ronnie Garvin, they can do an Eddie Gilbert. And I know the Garvin had the WWF run, and that's what that figure is based on, and Eddie Gilbert, never did. But like, I am so tired of the lack of representation for fucking hot stuff Eddie Gilbert, man. That shit is. He has one figure ever. Well, I guess multiple if you count the variants, but he's only represented in the fucking Legends of Wrestling line.
Yeah, that's true.
And like for what those figures are, they're not bad. I've seen people say like, "Oh, those figures were terrible." No, they weren't.
No, they
Not
were
not for that era. They weren't.
no, they were a very cool line for its time period as well.
And like I remember seeing like every quarter when I would get the Figures Inc. catalog or the Wrestling Superstore catalog rather. It was Figures Inc. first, but I digress. When I would get the catalog and I would see more names like, oh, they did Iron Sheik, they did Greg Valentine, they did Wahoo McDaniel, which, fuck Power Town because I'm never gonna have a Wahoo figure.
Hmm.
Those guys are all going to hell.
Huh. I watched
Everybody
the
involved in Power Town's going to hell.
I watched the video of Matt Cardona talking about them, like a 16-minute video or something like that,
I've
where
heard they still went kind of easy on them.
they showed clips of Greg Gagne's on the podcast, and like, well, I mean they didn't lose their shit. I mean, but like you could sense like even with like Myers, you could sense like the frustration because like they brought up like, oh, TNA and you have friends involved, yada yada. But then they're playing these clips from Greg Gagne, and even he has to be like, yeah, you're full of shit. Like when he was talking about like, oh, we have deals with like Target and Walmart and stuff. They're like, what? Since when? Like where? And he's talking like we've talked with people where we've showed up them to like people from Remco, and they're like, you are
Yeah.
Remco. Like, what do you mean? Um, so yeah, it was kind of funny.
I haven't seen their response to like the Magnum and Gagne podcast yet. I was told they went a little easy on them, and I was like, dude, they were shitting on you guys. If at any point you were gonna, actually, man the fuck up and tell these guys to kiss your ass, this would have been it.
Yeah.
And
No, yeah, they didn't go that far. They didn't show anything from like it was only Greg Gagne. Like they didn't. I don't know if it was a different podcast or what.
it was, yeah, because we talked about that one at the time. Because he said
Oh,
like,
okay.
because remember it's the one where Greg said the figures were selling for $1,000 on eBay, and it's like
Oh yeah, that's
you
right.
could buy
Yeah.
multiple complete Power Town Series 1 sets on eBay. I remember the ones that went the highest were the two Kerry Von Erich figures. Those went kind of crazy on the secondary market for a minute.
Hmm.
I have my Diamond Collection Kerry still. I've kicked the tires of whether or not I want to just offload that and just be fucking done. Um, I also saw that I reached out to Jeremy and Jeremy said they're still going to be making product in 2026. So that ends that discussion. You
Well,
guys have been
they haven't.
parroting everything Powertown tells you verbatim for like 2 years now.
Yeah, but I mean, they've already announced figures for 2026, right?
Yeah, just because they're putting product out and okay, the Mattel WWE thing was announced in 2008. Jack still put out product, really shitty product, but product nonetheless in 2009.
Yeah, they're gonna
And
keep going until they're actually finished what they've announced. You would think.
you would hope, yeah, because we don't know what point next year if the deal is up, like when it actually ends.
Yeah.
Um, and people like, oh, see that means the deal's not over. No, it means that if they somehow signed a 6-year deal, that means they're gonna honor the last year of that deal, and then whatever happens. One of my friends is convinced that I said this last week. One of my friends is convinced it's going to be Spin Master, and he's also convinced if that were the case, probably hear something at Toy Fair at the earliest or Comic Con at the latest. So that's
Yeah,
something to watch for next year.
we'll see. Yeah, I hope they get a good deal and someone that's putting out quality products because Lord knows they need it. I did see that the Sting 3-pack was on sale on Jazzwares Vault for I think it was $50 now,
Yep.
and I'm still just like, oh, should I? When do I pull the trigger on this?
At this point, we don't know because remember they said they had multiple Owen Hart figures planned, and I guess technically they put
Yeah,
3 of them out. But like it's been what 3 years they've never circled back to Owen.
yeah, that's crazy.
So like, are they going to do another Sting?
I don't know. You look at like Zombie putting out that retro of Owen, and it's like, how could Jazzwares not have capitalized on this more? You know?
Yeah, and take a look at the attire on that Owen too.
Yeah, exactly.
Why couldn't Jazzwares do it?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you look at it, the Flair and Sting figures both encroach on footage that WWE would own.
It just feels like such bullshit. I know we've talked about it at length, and copyrighted material and shit like that, but it just seems like that's like overdone when it comes to like what you can and can't do. Which is it's hard to believe that WWE is like, oh, you can't do this because we have that attire in our footage or some shit like that. Because it's not like they made it. It's like, what rights do they have to it just because it appeared in your footage? Like,
It's an
sounds like
intellectual
bullshit.
property thing, is how it was explained to me. Like, well,
Um,
we use this footage, so that's our intellectual property. Like, I've said it for years
oh,
now. They need to nut the fuck up and do a natural Dustin Rhodes figure.
yeah, that'd be very cool.
And it's been years since Dustin's had a figure in the line anyway. I think his last figure was Unmatched Series 1.
Yeah.
And that hit retail in fucking like the fall of 2021. Like, where the fuck is the Jazzwares vault? Like, New Japan, just to be legally ambiguous about it, fucking Dustin Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of things that are legally ambiguous, the Ringside Collectibles Unsanctioned Classic Superstars line, there's a weird update that's not really an update. Tom said he would expect to see multiple figures out by the end of the year. As I stand here right now, it's September, the 28th? So, not a whole lot of time left.
Nope.
If we're getting stuff out before the end of the year, I'm hopeful that wrestling figure news basically was like Sabu's a guarantee at this point. I would hope Sabu's next. I
I don't know.
also
Like
kind of,
that would be cool, but like I'd much rather have someone that's not being around a whole lot. Like Sabu had I know it wasn't very good, but he had the Cella. We've seen the zombie retro of Sabu. We've seen Sabu in different places. I'd just rather have someone that hasn't really uh been distributed a lot.
yeah, I want a good 6-inch scale Sabu, and we don't know when Zombie's going to get
Yeah,
around to it.
that's true.
And Tom was taking solicitations on who people wanted signed, and I may or may not have blown him up about every ECW name imaginable. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
My issue with him, and by him I mean Tom and Ringside at large, doing ECW guys is who does Zombie have under deals, and how quickly is Zombie planning to get them out? Because
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. Like we've seen the overlap with retros. Are we going to see that a lot with the 6-inch line? You know?
I think we will with at least a couple of names that Mitch has, because we know fucking Zombie did allude to an Ahmed Johnson or Tony Norris 6-inch figure before it was ever announced as the Pinnacle line.
Right.
So like that is entirely possible. Um, I I really want to see the rest of Series 2, because if they're following the kind of the theming of what we got the last time Bad News was in a set, where it was like more of a quote unquote hardcore theme, I need to know who the other two in the series are. Like, is Mike Awesome a possibility? Is Tajiri a possibility? God forbid, is Ric Flair a possibility? Because we know Flair and Savage 6-inch figures are in development. Um, I'd really love to see the Savage at this point, actually. I'd love to see anybody. Like, we've seen the Bad News prototype and he looked great. We've seen, like the upper torso and the head of New Jack. He looks great.
Can we get
That's the one I'm most excited about.
can we get Onita and Hayabusa?
I mean, I would like to see somebody tackle those. Ringside certainly has the money from all the years of making crazy profits off the WWE figures. They could probably do it.
I wonder what the deal would be with Hayabusa now, considering like the new one. Like, do you have to go for like 0-1 for that now, or?
I think you would if you'd want to sign that version in particular. I think otherwise you just have to find the one Hayabusa, the daughter of Hayabusa that was on Dark Side of the Ring.
Hmm.
Maybe I don't know. I do know that like there's all sorts of like speculation. People think like they Tom did mention Nick Gage months ago, but doing a Nick Gage figure now feels
Past
kind of
its
pointless.
yeah.
Like the peak for like a Nick Gage figure was when they did Zombie Series 2 because that pre-order went up in like 2022 or
Hmm.
might even yeah, it was 2022. That pre-order went up and like there was still the buzz from the AEW appearance and the Cardona stuff was still fresh in people's minds. And yeah, the 2-pack did okay when Zombie finally put it out. I don't know anybody who would care about a Nick Gage figure at this point.
You'd probably be better off doing a Maki Ito figure.
Yeah, probably. I mean, maybe if they really deck the figure out and he's got like, and this would require like some sort of a licensing deal with GCW, but like if it's, Nick Gage with the GCW belt, a bloody head, soft
Yeah.
goods t-shirt, and like a couple of light tubes and a pizza cutter, maybe you get somewhere with that, but I don't know. People have been mentioning, like Hercules and all of these other guys that Zombie is probably eventually going to do. And it gets back into the like, do I want to buy this if there's, the chance Zombie does it? Mattel getting access to these guys, I don't really give a fuck. I saw what they did with King Kong Bundy.
Yeah.
It, just not impressed. The Zombie one smokes that figure. I'm going to say that on every podcast until the end of time. Anybody that thinks that Coliseum Collection Bundy is better is smoking fucking crack. But I feel like there was other action figure, like wrestling figure news this week, and I've just blanked on it.
Not that I saw any news on it, but I wish there was news. But like these Galoob lines, it feels like there hasn't been anything from Epic. You know,
They did mention in an Instagram Q&A that they were still working everything out with that,
oh, okay,
but that was a couple of months ago, I think.
yeah.
Top Rope Collectibles, I have no fucking idea what's going on there.
Just it doesn't really look very good, to be honest.
Like, I know that a lot of people really like Joey Janela. I do not know who the hell is gonna. I have no recollection that they signed Van Hammer or Danhausen. Actually,
I feel like I remember Danhausen, but like the Bagwell, I would have been interested in, but I don't think it looks very good. And
there's a
like,
Brian Cage concept art on Wrestling Figure Database. I have no fucking idea when this is from.
uh, like a Bagwell
Uh,
and Patriot 2-pack of Bagwell and Scorpio, which they are doing, would have been of interest to me, but like I don't like the way Bagwell looks.
the drawing of Scorpio looks kind of cool. Do we have a render of the Bagwell yet, or is it just still the drawing?
Um,
Oh no, we
let
do
me.
have a render. You know what? I'll say the head sculpt on that looks all right. It's probably a little bit too big for the body.
He just looks like I don't know. To me, he looks like just strange.
And he looks like an asshole, but it's Buff Bagwell, so that's accurate.
He looks like if Buff Bagwell was like the cyborg from like RoboCop 3 or something. I don't know how to explain it.
I wish this Orndorff figure didn't have the atrophied arm.
Yeah.
I understand that might have actually been a thing the family agreed to, but like, give me a break. Did this Diamond Stud figure ever fucking come out? Also,
I actually don't know.
Because that was another one of those like, wait a minute, he for sure has a Legends deal.
Yeah, it's anytime you see like now when you see a Nash or a Hall, it's like those two especially is just like, come on.
Oh, Nash doesn't give a shit at this point.
Oh no, he doesn't give a shit, but like definitely, someone that's 100% on a Legends deal, and it's like, can you get away with that? I mean, I see those crop lesson gimmicks ones. They go on eBay now for like pretty good amount.
They're still in stock on his website. That's the craziest part.
Yeah, that's right. You mentioned that. I think it's because when I looked at his website, I couldn't find them, and then I actually Googled it, and I found the link through Google. So maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know if they're actually featured on the website itself. Maybe you have to like Google it.
I looked on the main page and you had to scroll down like a very small amount, but they were still there. Also,
It's
they took
possibly I
money
missed
for
it.
that. They took money for Diamond Stud back in April.
Mm,
And Bagwell and Orndorff are also up for pre-order currently as well on J&J Figures. Orndorff was up in July. Bagwell was up in August. I mean,
so
have you
the
heard anything about the quality of the PN news? Because I haven't. I don't know
not a
anybody who actually fucking bought
not
it.
a thing. I'd have to go through like the wrestling figs thread to see if anyone had it, but I didn't hear a thing.
Oh, I'm not going to ask you to do that. No, I'm not going to subject you to that. I
I
don't want to
wasn't
know how.
planning on it anyway.
I mean, looking at it, this PN News looks very, very close to the prototype, and so does the Diamond Stud. So if you were like a hardcore like Galoob head, these would probably be right up your alley. But like just looking, man, who gives a fuck about a Galoob Joey Janela?
I think the big thing too was the price, right? It seemed like they were a bit overpriced.
$40, yeah. They're just a solid brick of plastic.
Yeah.
Joey Janela comes with a snake for some reason.
Oh, I, is that Brett
How
Lauderdale? I don't
long?
know.
I also forgot that they did Norman the Lunatic, which that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know that I need it.
Does he come with his bear or whatever he had? Was it a monkey? I don't remember.
The render just shows Norman, and the picture they have, it's like a little, looks kind of like a Beanie Baby, like way before that was a thing.
Am I getting him confused with George Steele? Or did Norman have like a
He had like
stuffed
a little
bear?
stuffed bear in this promo picture.
Ah, yeah.
You know what? That Van Hammer is going to be really funny to see when it actually comes out.
That's one I would not make.
Didn't he hit and run like some fucking like 6-year old?
I don't know, but he definitely was involved in some motor vehicle accident.
Yeah. So he was
Was he
driving
involved in like two?
58 in a 35 in a DUI after hitting a 5-year old. Okay, so I remember when I was working at a very, very large big box retailer and I was pushing a cart through the store. God, this is like right before I left that job too. This kid darted out in front of me and I almost tagged him and my fucking department manager was like, all right, Van Hammer, you want to slow down a little bit? That just unlocked that memory.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, like it's not funny. He hit a 5-year-old child.
Yeah, why are we giving this dude money?
I fucking, the boy
Like,
was riding a bicycle that still had training wheels
Jesus.
thrown
There's
onto the
some like
car's hood and fell off before Van Hammer drove away from the scene.
there's some like questionable characters that get figures made that's like you can make arguments that like their legends are like popular or maybe people don't know the things they've done. But like Van Hammer is not even like a name. It's like I get that it was like for the time period, but like fuck him.
Hold on, time out. How the fuck was Van Hammer driving a Mercedes Benz? Granted, it was like a 6-year-old Benz. How the fuck does he have that kind of money?
Maybe stole it.
You think he just walked onto the lot like, yeah, it was a big deal in WCW, and they're like, fucking say
I
no
could see
more?
him, I could see him like walking up to the lot, like sort of like in a stun state from like the Yaki games, and just like getting into the car and just leaving.
He has a history of DUIs. He was arrested in 2004 in Georgia for the same thing.
Wasn't a 5-year-old there too, was it?
Not as far as I can tell. Kept claiming the boy jumped out in front of him, but like, I don't see how that's possible. I get that it's a figure of speech, but the kid was literally on a fucking bicycle with training wheels.
Yeah.
God, dude, Van Hammer fucking sucked.
Yeah, he always did.
Yeah, I didn't like him when I was a kid. And I
I
liked a
remember him
lot of wrestlers when I was a kid.
I remember him showing up as in the flock, and I was just like, "What?" I guess I was a, little kid, but I remembered him from early on WCW, and it's just like, "Why?"
Yeah, I love how he was a punchline on the Tony Schiavone podcast a bunch back when that podcast was, worth listening to. Tony was still a little bit angry at the wrestling business, and some of those old episodes are aggressively miserable to listen to because Tony's just not having a good time. Anytime he gets to shit on somebody, like he talks about the one time like Van Hammer walked into the locker room and somebody still was like, "Don't worry, guys, Van Hammer's here. We're good now." Like, goddamn.
Didn't he have, like, a tryout with WWF in, like, 90, 91 or something like that?
If he did, I can't imagine how the fuck he didn't end up getting signed. Because look at him.
I could have sworn I read about him having a tryout.
Was it Van Hammer or Reese that signed Train the Briscoes?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it was Van Hammer. Yeah, it was.
Good god.
I don't know how the hell they ended up being good.
Yeah. I can't even imagine him
there's
training someone. I imagine him, like,
he
in his training
couldn't
class,
work a fucking leg.
he gets in the ring and he trips over the bottom rope.
It wouldn't shock me. That
He's like,
motherfucker sucked.
"First thing you need to know," and he pulls out a guitar and starts playing it.
The entrance is the most important thing. Van Hammer should be a performance center coach. He's got the DUIs and
Oh
the fucking
god.
entrance thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably
Yeah,
got
he could.
questionable politics as well.
Yeah. Yeah, the QAnon think tank they got going on down there in Florida. Yeah, I'd like to see these Galoob lines kind of do a little bit better, especially like Norman the Lunatic is like right in the wheelhouse of what I think I would actually want from these now that I'm looking at him. Cause like he's like a 90, 91 character. He realistically could have been one, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Johnny B. Bad too. But for me, like beyond like the weirdo obscure guys like Vader, if somebody could get Foley, that would be great. Because Cactus would be great. Jake's willing to step outside of his Legends deal. Somebody want to do a fucking 92 Jake?
Yeah, that'd be very cool. I keep thinking Brad
Barbarian was
Armstrong.
around in 92.
Amazing.
God, yeah. He needs more than just that fucking Figures Toy Company figure.
Yeah.
And the really wild thing is that Figures Toy Company Brad Armstrong's probably the best figure they've ever done.
Yeah. Crazy.
Like it's really good for what they do, and I'm never going to give them money. Have I ever told the story about that guy on the Observer board?
I don't think so.
Somebody was shitting on those figures. Um, he went into like the New Japan Super 7 thread and was like, "Oh, they're gonna be so expensive and all this." And like the New Japan Super 7 figures were $45.
Yeah, they're
Whoop de
very
doo.
affordable.
And somebody was like, "Well, your figures are really overpriced for what they are." And he started like, "Oh, you tough guy," and like talking shit like he was gonna fight. It might have been me, and it might have been somebody else. But like, he was like, "You tough guy. Oh, you say this to my face." Like, buddy, your figures are objectively shitty, ruthless aggression figures.
Uh-huh.
And like, I would say this to your face, as Habib said, send me location. But like, he got like so angry about it and was like, "You tough guy." He might have called me a piece of shit once too, and I was just like, okay, well, you know. And it really sucks that like I understand. Have you heard any of the Cornette Powertown stuff? Because there's some interesting info in there.
A little bit.
Um, he mentioned the reason why he did the figures toy company stuff was basically the way it sounded like Cornette funded everything. So basically anything that was made was like it came to him and it got dispersed amongst him and the Midnights. And obviously since Bobby's no longer with us, to his family.
Mm.
And if you go through a toy company, then you have to do royalties. And the way that he looked at it, he did the math. They would have had to have sold $2 million of Fabulous Ones 2-packs for Stan Lane to get like 50 grand.
Yeah.
So for anybody that's holding out on like the Midnights getting figures from any of these lines, it's not going to fucking happen. And I don't listen to the Cornette podcast. I did listen to like the Roger Jackson stuff because somebody told me I'd think it was funny, and then it was just like, yeah, it's about what I thought Jim Cornette would do. Basically just called everybody involved a fucking idiot, which yeah. Some people were, much larger idiots in that than others. Yeah. But apparently Brian Last has been working on him for years to fucking sign with like Zombie in the majors, and Cornette, in the Powertown stuff definitively was like, if I'm gonna do it, we're gonna fucking I'll cover everything. There's no middleman, and then we get to fucking keep everything, which I understand. But those figures also kind of suck ass.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, well, I think about the Cornette figures are actually really good. Like the head sculpt is like one of the few that doesn't suck from Figure Toy Company. But you look at like the Midnights and like the Stan Lane's all right. The head sculpt's a little cartoony. The Bobby Eaton's okay. But I see those and I'm like, fucking imagine Brian Beatty doing, Big Rubber Guy's Midnight Express.
Mm.
Or like, fucking Zombie Sailor sculptors doing like Bobby and Stan. I don't even really need Dennis Condrey, with all due respect. I know that FTR Bald would be very upset with me for saying that. But like those guys all deserve better action figures than what they've gotten. And unfortunately we're not we're not getting anything better. But yeah, if you listen to the Cornette stuff, and I understand if you don't want to listen to Jim Cornette talk about anything, it's very easy now to call into question who Powertown actually had signed. Because they were claiming to Cornette that they had Stan Lane, and Stan was like, no, they asked me. And I told them, like, yeah, sure, send me the contract. And then they told Cornette, like, we got Stan Lane, and they didn't have him. So you might also remember they claimed they had Harley Race. And who put out the most recently released Harley Race figures? The majors, actually, now that I think about it, but Mattel. Mattel was what my answer was going to be with the majors. The majors did the Big Rubber Guys, and Title Run's doing the retro. I guess Ace Steel is controlling the Harley Race shit now, which feels really weird because he has kids that are still alive. But I digress. Ace did spend a lot of time around Harley, especially in the later years. So I get it if he was entrusted with it. It just I saw something where one of Harley's kids was like, hey, can somebody contact me about this? And the Harley Race account, which is run by Ace Steel, was like, hey, I'll be your point of contact with all of these people. And I was just like, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's weird.
Is there any wrestling video game news this week? I have not been paying attention at all.
We had Steve Mason post a new animation of a power bomb over the top rope through a table, so it was cool to see that he's still around. Guess he's just working away. So that was nice to see. What else did we have recently? We already talked about the WWE DLC. Don't think there's anything new with Ultra Pro. I don't think there's anything else going on right now.
Has Virtual Basement posted anything, or is the fucking jig finally up there?
I don't think they've posted anything in quite a while.
Yeah, it feels like we might not be able to hide anymore, and by we I mean they. There there are a lot of people that sacrifice their public image for them too, like that dumbass Viking size gamer and Dre 41 Gaming. Like if I was those, I mean Viking size gamer apparently isn't even on Twitter anymore. But fuck that guy. He blocked me for calling him out for saying Fire Pro was an arcade game. And then tried to walk it back and say it was an arcade sim hybrid. And I was like,
Maybe if you're talking
no.
about like Fire Pro Gaiden, but like no. Uh we gotta stop
But
this. Yeah, go ahead.
he did that video in like 2021 talking about all of the features of the game and talked about it like he actually saw something. And
That's fine.
Dre 41 did that gaming. He did the gaming podcast with his co-host and was like, "Well, it's everything he does on channel. He's literally Dre 41 Gaming. He's a nice guy." But like he did the podcast and they were talking about like, "Oh, we saw the gameplay and we can't talk too much about it, but it's the details." And then they don't even go into what the details are. It's like everybody they've gotten to talk about the game publicly has just been made to look like an absolute doofus.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to stop, and this is called to everyone. Stop, like, saying something that you haven't played is like the best thing of all time. Like, just stop doing it because there's too many people that put everything into these projects that really aren't personally involved. They're not the developers. They haven't had their hands on it, and they're just like, "Oh, this is gonna be the best thing ever." Because look at what happens. It happens a time and time and time and time again. People have got to stop doing that. You can look forward to something, that's fine. You can be excited for something, okay. But don't start telling everyone it's gonna be the best of all time. Because you don't
Yeah,
know.
there was like wrestling related stuff with M Dickey recently, but I don't
Oh, oh, well, oh, okay, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. He
I don't I don't want to talk about it because again,
I mean I'll talk about it.
people.
It's got nothing to do with you. Um
Oh,
and
fuck M Dickey.
I'll just say what exactly he did. So I think people thought this was wrestling Empire or something, and it doesn't seem to be. It's like one of the other games he's working on. I know there's a few stuff that there was something that he's working on, and he put out a trailer he has a Steam page, and I watched it, and like the music, I was like, wait a minute, and the music was quite obviously AI created. Listening to it, like just
I'm shocked.
super obvious. So whatever game this was, he put like a tribute to Charlie Kirk on like a wall in front of like a history classroom or something. And I mean, it was funny for a lot of reasons. I mean, he said the money from it was like going to teach students that you don't shoot people over a slight difference of opinion. It's like slight difference, but also like, is that a course that I've missed or something? Is that an actual course in schools? Um, but also like the picture that he used wasn't even something that he created. Like he didn't make like a version of Charlie Kirk in his engine or whatever the case may be. It's just like there was an AI slob video of him in Studio Ghibli. I think that's how you pronounce it. Form going around, and he just took a screen cap of that, and it even has the person who made its username in the bottom. So like your tribute, you didn't even put any effort into it. You just stole an image
M
from an
Dickey
AI.
stealing art. I'm so shocked.
You stole an image from an AI video. Like you did the least amount you could. You know, it's just like even if you disagree with having that in the game, it's like he didn't do anything to really, pay actual tribute. He did nothing. And it just like so lazy. And I was when this was happening, because I was told about it and I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Um and like I was going through his other stuff too, and I saw a post of his where it was a few months ago. Sean Ross Sapp posted a video of a match that was happening at sea. Like there was a floating ring and it was like rocking back and forward. And I saw M. Dickey was like complaining that, or he was saying like, "Oh, I I added water to my game, and like, look what's happening now. And someone was like, "Hero is ahead of the curve," and I was like, you realize you didn't invent matches like that, right? Like,
There's an
match,
FMW one from like 1995.
yeah, like quite famously, a really fun match where Mike Awesome takes a back bump into the water and an explosion happens. Like, you didn't invent that. Like, you know, it's in like someone's gonna have water matches in a game that's gonna be better than what he's done too. I can promise you that. Uh,
Just mod the fucking beach arena and fight forever to where the ring is in the water. There you go.
yeah, but like, it's the weird thing with him too is like he constantly goes on with like, oh, I don't get enough credit. Like, he's always whining and bitching about him not getting enough credit, as opposed to like he's always looking for validation. Like, there's people that legitimately enjoy his games, and he doesn't like appeal to like their enjoyment. It appeals to his like his own like ego and how it's never enough for him. It's just it's fucking ridiculous. And like, I mean, there's a
Let
lot of
me.
people. I posted about that tribute on Blue Sky actually, and there's a lot of people. Like, I don't have a lot of people that follow me on Blue Sky, but there's like a bunch of people that like commented on it and stuff, and obviously the reaction there was very, very negative. But like, I just don't know what that guy's deal is anymore. It's like,
He's an edgy fucking loser, and he always has been. One of these days, unfortunately, the version of the M. Dickey show I remember playing as a kid, that's like lost media now. Nobody has the disc based version.
there
Uh,
was I did see, somehow I ended up on this. There's a Reddit for Dickey, and someone had mentioned having like the earliest version of that. They had found it, and like they were gonna share it, but they were gonna ask him for permission first, and I doubt he gave permission for it. So
so
someone
this has been
else
a
said that
thing
he
with him
doesn't
for
want to.
fucking.
Sorry, someone else
Yeah.
said that he doesn't want it out there.
Yeah, no, because there's a lot of really fucked up shit in it too. And even the version that's out there, like for those that don't know, the M. Dickey show was the first 3D fighting game that M. Dickey did. It preceded the original Wrestling Empire by a few months. And it was basically the Jerry Springer show. Like
Mm,
literally, like several things ripped off from that. He voices all of the fucking characters, and there's stuff like my husband cheated on me with a horse. There's a thing where like the Stone Cold stand-in, I don't even remember it, but he says a lot of really fucked up shit. And it's like this is just who M. Dickey has always fucking been. And the Charlie Kirk tribute, when I saw that, I think Ray sent it to me and was like, also, he's fucking British. Why is he commenting on this? And I was just like, fuck if I know. And like, if people need to stop fucking playing his shit and being like, oh, these games are so funny. No, they're bad. They're badly designed games. They look like shit. A lot of the textures, especially the faces, are fucking stolen from No Mercy mods because there was a whole deal with that a couple of years ago when he stole Icotrax's Randy Savage face.
hmm
And like, I might have liked Federation Booker a lot when I was a kid, and I might still think Wrestling Revolution 2D is probably the best game he's ever done, just from a gameplay standpoint, and even that's not great. But when I hear people talk like, well, he's got stuff in his games that you're never going to see in the WWE games or Fight Forever, like, yeah, because it kind of doesn't fucking add anything. It's just shit piled on top of more shit. Remember the
I
thing in Jurassic Park where Jeff Goldblum just goes, that's a big pile of shit? That's every fucking M. Dickey game.
I will
And
say
I'm not
this.
shocked
So,
he's using AI music and AI art. It's perfectly in line with who he's always fucking been. And
be
to your point about him seeking validation, if you can, go back and read his old dev diaries where he talks about I'm one man doing the work of an
yeah,
entire
that
team.
that was always his thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's a cool like badge of honor to wear where you're like, look at what I'm doing. If your shit's actually good, it's not.
Yeah, before this whole thing went down, I actually randomly installed Wrestling Empire, and I was doing shit like putting 100 wrestlers in a small octagon with 100 pieces of explosions, and like watching them all fall out the ring with like limbs missing and shit, and it was funny, and I found that kind of enjoyable. But I wasn't playing any of the matches because I think the gameplay is pretty goddamn horrible.
Oh, it's
Um,
terrible. Makes no
just
sense.
yeah, I mean, there's interesting things like the way reversals are done and shit like that. But when you get down to it, it's like it's what it is it's jackass. It's like you can have fun watching people do dumb shit or dumb shit happen in front of you. Like, why is a referee all of a sudden playing a guitar or some shit like that? But when it comes down to it, I don't want to play it at all. Like, there's no fun in that. So
It's
that's what it
just
is
the
to me.
Jerry Springer show. That's like
Yeah,
it's what he finds funny.
there was also something in that was like there was like a podcast or something you can do, and it's so ridiculous because you have like people sitting on a plane doing a podcast, or like one of his levels is a plane and shit, and it's just ridiculous. And one of the questions are like, which 80-year-old um old white man is going to win the election? Is it going to be the blue or is it going to be the red or something? And like I picked blue, and it's like, oh, I can't even remember what the answer was, but the reaction was like, because everyone has to share the same opinion or something like that. And I was like, huh? I was like, I don't know why there's a political message in here. I don't know what you're getting at. I don't know why. Again, you brought it up before, but like he's British. Why are you talking about American politics in your games? I mean, I guess it affects the whole world, but it's also you're making a wrestling game. Like it's just focus on that. But yeah, the whole thing was just like very very silly. And again, the thing to me that was the silliest was like using AI art, not even something that he created from a video with their username in the bottom, you know? It was just like for a tribute, that's like the least amount you could do, you know?
It's very fucking lame. Again, super on brand with him, and I just fuck him. His games were cool to me like 22 years ago. They're not now.
Yeah.
Real quick, Mondo put up their Masters of the Universe 2000X He-Man and Clawful, and I was expecting the prices were not going to be fun, and I was right. The timed edition of He-Man, because there is a standard version for 95. The timed edition's 115. You get an extra head, and I think you get like that really detailed base they showed him on at Comic Con. 95, you just take those two things out.
Mm.
Clawful is timed only, available for 3 weeks, 125. Massive fucking figure, incredible paintwork, incredible sculpting. And I was like, I'll just get He-Man, and then when they do Skeletor, I'll get him. And then I looked at the studio shots of Clawful, and I was like, God damn it, I'm gonna have to grab this one too. And so I did. I am not going to be like a completionist on that line. I'll grab Skeletor, and if this line goes long enough to get us Beastman, I'll buy him too, because just the example set by Clawful, and honestly, everything
Mhm.
else Mondo does, like that Beastman's going to look insane if they get around to him. They did a 1/6 scale Beastman that's not based on the 2000s design. That's like really fucking good. So they Mondo makes really incredible stuff. It's just really, really, really fucking high priced, but that's what happens with boutique figure lines, man. Can't do anything about it. I mean, you can just not buy the stuff, but then you don't have it. So
I saw like
about
it was at some convention or something. There was like a cutout from the movie. It was like stuffed in a corner and you could barely make it out, but it was He-Man. It was
huh,
so weird. It's just like the funniest leak. It's just like a cutout stuffed in the corner somewhere. It was strange.
I don't have a whole lot of faith that that movie is going to be any fucking good.
I mean, Jared Leto's in
But
it, so
yeah. The only thing he's ever been in that I actually kind of like is that old My So-Called Life.
I did like Blade Runner 2049 a lot. Like it's one of my favorite movies, but not for him. But like it's funny because like I mean I've talked about it before, but like really wanted a new Tron, and like just seeing everyone like, oh yeah, Tron, but Jared Leto's in it. Like the same reaction over and over again. It's been kind of funny.
Did you see any of the Kojima production stuff from this past week?
I read about it, but no, I didn't see anything other than like the poster that was released for is it Fishant?
Fizzant, yeah. So
Yeah.
they announced the first three cast members for that game. Um, we got Charlie Fraser from Fraser. I think I said that right. From Furiosa, which I kind of expected she was going to find her way into a Kojima project because I guess he was tweeting a lot about her when Furiosa came out.
Mhm.
Um, I gotta pull up the names now because I don't remember which girl from Godzilla minus one that they got.
He's also friends with George Miller too, and the I forget the character's name, but the guy that was in Furiosa was someone that now he says should be Solid Snake.
He's got Minami Hamabe from Godzilla minus one, and Don Lee, who is also in Death Stranding 2. He talked about how they needed to do like they're using the metahuman tech that they are using in OD, and mentioned that like there was an issue with them replicating like the facial features of like an Asian woman, and he
Mhm.
showed like in progress shots of what Minami Hamabe is going to look like in Fizzant. And he also said everything is still in the conceptual stage. He's basically working by himself. He doesn't have a screenplay yet. He's doing casting. If you've seen the poster, everybody on Reset Era is convinced it's going to be Robert Pattinson as the lead, which I kind of expect, honestly, just looking at the poster. That game, as we stand here right now on September the 28th, 2025, if that game comes out within the next 7 years, I would be very surprised. It really does feel like we're waiting until 33, like
Possibly.
32, 33.
I did see people saying that the actor on the poster looks like somebody else, and I can't remember who it was. But I mean, he was praising Pattinson not too long ago and met at McCain's. So it seemed like if it was going to be anyone, it's probably going to be him if it works out. I mean, um, because Pattinson's also quite busy, so we'll see.
I'm curious to see what this game, like what form it takes. I hope it is as far away from Metal Gear as humanly possible. I don't want a giant mech. I don't want any convoluted world controlling conspiracies. If we could just have like a grounded, reasonably grounded by Kojima standards project, I'll be very, very happy. I'll be happy regardless at this point. I'm just happy to see he's going to be back in that wheelhouse. There was also like a trailer for that OD game. Apparently, that's going to be like an anthology game where like all the
Yeah.
stories are separate. This trailer showed Sophia Lillis, who I remember as being Beverly in the really shitty 2010s It movies. Um, this game looks nothing like a video game. It looks very much like a movie. Like the tech is like it's there.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know that I was necessarily creeped out by the trailer until the very, very end of it. I also thought it was very interesting that the little sound effect is reminiscent of Halloween.
Mhm.
I'm curious to see what that game's going to look like. I honestly hope that game's only like a year and a half away because I think Koji Pro needs to get the fuck away from Microsoft and just start working on Fizzant because I
Yeah.
think that's kind of our bread's going to be buttered with that particular dev team.
Yeah, it's being a horror game, I'm not too interested in it, but I was thinking about Fist and when you were talking about like it needs to get away from like Metal Gear, I was like, wouldn't it be cool if it was like something closer to like Snatcher?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that would be neat.
I I also just worry about like Kojima, like his I don't want to say his health, but like he mentioned being tired. Like, and this was IGN's translators, but he mentioned like being very tired because he's busy. And he had a couple of health scares in the last few years too. Like, is dude gonna be okay to work on these games? And he also still wants to direct a movie. And I understand being ambitious, but goddamn, bud, not
We
getting any
forget
younger.
too.
No, sorry.
We yeah, we forget his age because the dude hasn't aged in like 20 years.
No, he basically looks exactly the same. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of video games, No God of Vania announced at the State of Play. But I will say this: Saros, the game that's being done by the developers of Returnal, that game looks fucking incredible.
Yeah.
That that game looks awesome. Comes out in March. I will probably be playing that day one. We saw the Wolverine trailer, and it doesn't look like they deviated a whole lot from some of the plot elements from the leaks. We're going to see more of it in the spring. My big thing is it's gory and violent. It basically looks like somebody went, well, let's throw the fans of the old X-Men Origins game a bone and let's make this a lot bloodier,
Yeah.
because there is a crazy amount of fucking gore on the screen in this trailer.
Yeah.
It is wonderful.
I thought it looked
I
fine.
I the gameplay part of it looks the most interesting to me, which is what I've been saying for a long time. Like, if it plays well, that's cool. I don't think story wise Insomniac is going to deliver on anything I want. I do have my questions about what that X-Men game is going to look like, because I genuinely don't think somebody on that team is going to have the idea of, like, what if we do X-Men Legends?
Oh no, I don't think it'll be anything like that.
And I don't want it to be like the stuff in Spider-Man 2 where, like, it's AI Miles flying around. I want to be able to control the X-Men. I don't want to have to focus on one character. I understand for storytelling reasons, like the pre-rendered cutscenes or whatever, you need to have certain characters. Listen, if you've got to fucking just lock in who I have to use for a mission, I'll probably kick and scream a little bit, but I don't really care that much. I just don't want that game to be like the Avengers game where, here you go, you're playing as Thor, watch fucking Hulk jumping around in the background. And I also don't want it to be like the Avengers game where it's like, here's the X-Men, by the way, you're playing as Miss Marvel.
Yeah. We'll see.
Nothing
I mean,
against that character, but like,
yeah, it's a good ways off, so maybe they'll make some changes to their how they approach things. We'll see.
oh, it's not coming out in 2030. That's not
No, I
happening.
wouldn't. No.
Wolverine was announced for fall of next year, and the Venom game is still coming. Allegedly, it's very early in pre-production. I kind of don't care if Tony Todd's not involved, but whatever. Um, the rest of that state of play just felt so fucking lifeless. Honestly, like that Bamco game that kind of just looks like a fucking Souls like. I don't care. Dynasty Warriors 3 is getting, a remaster. Oh boy. That what was it? There was like a Metroidvania looking game called like Chronoscript or something like that.
That looked kind of cool.
Yeah, that was like the big winner for me out of the stuff that weren't the opener or the closer. But to me, and then fucking every insider was like, "Oh yeah, the Metroidvania God of War." I would bet money that that's going to
Hmm.
be shown. They didn't show that, but they did show a fucking Kratos themed controller, and I just audibly went, "Fuck you!"
I think
Just Jesus Christ.
like the biggest thing coming out of TGS was Ananta. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly, which is like this anime open world GT esque game with what looks like animation stolen from other games. To be quite honest, I mean, there's like web swinging, which is people were saying is like directly from Miles Morales. He just like in the trailer, he just flips the other way. Um, there's animations that are like right out of Sleeping Dogs. There's also like the Venom animations from Spider-Man 2 look exactly the same, which is kind of crazy. I saw someone trying to make the excuse that, oh, well, PlayStation's promoting it, so they must have got permission. It's like that's not how that works, you know. And I'm pretty sure
No.
Insomniac didn't give them permission to use or at least copy their animations. And it's funny too because the studio behind this is the one behind Marvel Rivals. So I mean, it looked interesting. I think I'm not really into like anime based games, but like with this being like an open world like GTA with all these different options, I thought that was very interesting to look at. But like seeing these animations, was like, this seems off. And then also reading that it's like open world, or sorry, not open world, but like free to play. I was like, oh. and then apparently it's a very large install size, so it's like, "Oh, like, I'm not too sure about this." It was just wild seeing also just seeing, like, people defend the animations. Um, it just seems to be that no one cares these days about plagiarism or, like, that sort of thing. It's just like, well, they've done it, who cares, you know what I mean? It's like, it feels like that should be a much bigger deal than it is.
Yeah, you would think. Unfortunately, I don't know if people are paying that close of attention. The people that like could do anything about it. I did see that Adventures of Elliot game that Square Enix announced, like the HD 2D Zelda clone. I saw there was a new trailer out for that. I haven't watched it yet.
Mhm.
That might be my most anticipated game of next year because just the art style looks beautiful, and it's like Nintendo's never gonna have enough dog in them to do it themselves. If they did a proper like big budget Legend of Zelda game in this style, I would lose my goddamn mind.
Yeah.
But they're not going to. And I didn't really pay close attention to anything else coming out. I know Octopath Traveler Zero, which is another Square Enix game. I know that had a trailer at TGS. The Xbox Ally, we finally got the prices for that: $5.99 for the base and $9.99 for the Ally X. And it is going to be a hoot, possibly a hoot and a half, when that PlayStation 6 handheld drops and it's like $500.
Yeah.
I saw someone on Reset Era who was like, "On what planet is $500 an affordable mass market handheld product?" And I was like, "The one where there's a $449 one that's the fastest selling console ever that just came out a couple months ago."
Yep.
Like the people on that board are like so adamant there's no demand for like a hybrid like handheld that you can dock, and it's like I'm the exact target audience for that. Honestly, like apparently not all games are going to need the low power mode patch, but like the ones that have it are going to perform better, like PS5 games. I'm excited
Yeah.
for that. If that thing can run Fizzant when it finally comes out, that's going to be cool. If it can run any of the base PS5 games at a reasonable like frame rate, I'm in.
I mean, the thing is that you're not viewing them as handhelds from previous generations. It's not like we're in the era of a PSP or whatever, It's these
Yeah,
handhelds can do pretty crazy things. I mean, look at the Steam Deck.
yeah. It's very much not the Game Boy Advance or the
Right.
DS and the PSP anymore. These are like the handheld PlayStation 6 is going to basically be like the PlayStation 6S to look
Yeah,
at it in terms of like how Xbox.
we're not getting like a version made specifically for these consoles. I mean, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, and that seems like something people have a hard time grasping. Is like, well, is the handheld going to get support? It's the fucking other PS6 SKU, presumably. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it
exactly.
will. Like, you're gonna probably, if you're a dev, you're probably gonna be. There's gonna be some sort of mandate where it has to be optimized to run on the handheld.
Mhm.
There has to be. Um,
Yep.
but like $9.99 for the Ally X, even the $5.99 for the base only makes the Steam Deck OLED look like a fucking better value.
Yeah,
Like, I understand the regular Ally is more powerful than the Steam Deck OLED in some regards. I'd still rather have the Steam Deck OLED.
yeah, I agree.
Um, I did get the Nightmare on Elm Street 4K, the standard set. I got that on Friday. Shout outs to Darius from FedEx. I know now if I see his name attached to my deliveries, I'm waiting until like 4:45 p.m. at minimum. I did cancel the Steelbook because I told you before we started recording, like I didn't have the extra 180 like I thought I was going to this week, and honestly, there's no incentive. I thought the Steelbooks look cool, but they don't look cool enough. And I've seen what the outside, like the library box, looks like, and I didn't think it looked that cool in the renders, and it really doesn't look cool in like actual steel form.
Mhm.
So I'm cool with having the standard set that has the picture of Freddy from the one end of the 99 DVD box set. As I stand here right now at like 10:22, I've watched every movie in the box set except Nightmare on Elm Street 2, which I'll be watching probably immediately after we wrap this up. I have thoughts. I see now why people thought like Nightmare on Elm Street 1 might have been a little heavy on the DNR, the digital noise reduction. I still think it looks great. Would I have liked more film grain on the screen? Yeah, but it looks and sounds incredible. Like all the reviews from last year, it lived up to everything that I'd heard, so I was super happy with that. I watched Dream Warriors like immediately after, and film grain is very well represented on the screen. Colors are all basically exactly what they should be. It sounded great. Dream Master, I wasn't a super huge fan of the sound mix on that because it felt like it prioritized the sound effects over dialogue or even background music over dialogue. Even with dialogue boost on my TV, it was still a little sketchy. Dream Child, the uncut footage, the 30 seconds, it blended in well. It didn't look like it was from the same source as the theatrical cut, which I didn't expect it would be. But the extra few seconds of gore was really cool to see again because I hadn't seen that since the early 2000s. Also, I should note on Dream Master, the colors are super vivid. The scenes with the green lighting and the red lighting and the green and red lighting together, they all look amazing now. They did not on the previous Blu-ray set where everything was dark and kind of crushed and washed out. This set is basically a 180 of that old Blu-ray set. Freddy's Dead colors are insanely vivid, like it just bursting. Really, film grain is obviously it's there. I think they use different film stock on this and Freddy New Nightmare because you could tell like this was shot using different equipment. I did not get to enjoy the 3D ending because 3D glasses have never been something that like my eyes line up with very well.
Yeah.
And also the supplied ones were a little bit too small for my giant fucking head. But the Freddy's Dead's not a great movie, but like it's a very fucking fun movie. To this day, I love watching it. And I watched New Nightmare, literally finished it 45 minutes roughly before we started recording. And that movie looks incredible. I've my appreciation for it kind of fluctuates depending on how much of an asshole I feel like being. The first time I watched it, I had no frame of reference for the original. So like at the end when John Saxon and Heather Langenkamp become Lieutenant Thompson and Nancy, like just mid conversation, that was lost on me when I was 10. It's obviously not lost on me now. And having just watched the original on Friday night, that hit me a little bit. And I just also think it's really fucking funny that they do this like meta horror movie that also echoes the story beats of Hansel and Gretel. Like, what the fuck? Like, how is that inspiration? Yeah. I don't. My mom didn't read me Hansel and Gretel a bunch as a kid. I knew the story, but like that reticulated python, like the yellow and white. So I think technically it's an albino reticulated python that they have that Dylan has to get past. I don't know if that's in the fucking Hansel and Gretel story, but I do know that if I was Miko Hughes in that scene and I saw that fucking snake, even if they told me he's not going to hurt you no matter what, I would have shit my fucking pants. I would have been like, nope, not doing that, buddy. Fuck you. But that movie, I get that it's supposed to be serious and Freddy's supposed to kind of be scary. And Miko Hughes is incredibly funny in that movie in the most unintentional way. Like when she turns the TV off and he just starts screaming. Like every time he's on camera, I just laugh because it's really fucking funny. It's a shame that movie didn't do better at the box office because I kind of would like to see what Craven taking another swing at Nightmare in the 90s would look like, especially, if it came out around the time of, say, Scream.
Yeah.
But I'm also kind of glad we got, the Scream movies the way we did because I love those movies. Apparently the 4K transfers of those are amazing. And I need to ditch the shitty Blu-ray versions that I've had for years because the new scans are apparently just that incredible. All of this to say, having not watched all 7, but I've watched 6 of the 7, this thing retails for $99. It is absolutely worth it. I got mine for I think 92 after shipping, because on Groove, if it's your first order, you get 20% off. If you like these movies, if you like horror in general, if you just want to watch 7 movies that have a baseline higher than any other 7 movie franchise that you could ever fucking point to, this is, you're not going to find a better value for any of those criteria. Like, it's really funny. I can isolate like 3 movies from this series and put it up against a lot of like movie trilogies, and I think Nightmare might have the higher baseline. The level of quality these movies have, even the bad ones, are still better than a lot of bad movies in other franchises. It's fucking insane. I do think Dream Child sucks though. Pro-life horror movies are a very funny concept to me. And like, and beyond just the pro-life messaging, I mean, I guess technically it's pro-choice because like the decision to have the abortion gets floated to Alice, and she's like, "No, I'm going to keep him." But like, it's very strongly like, have that baby is kind of the overarching message. But there's like that point between Greta's death and when Mark, the comic book guy, dies, where it's kind of like nothing fucking happens. Like Yvonne, and I like Kelly Jo Minter as an actress, she's just kind of a fucking asshole the whole movie. And I get that that's kind of the point, but it's like insufferable. Like the last time I watched this movie was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and I turned the movie off because I was just like, I get it, but I can't deal with this. Like it's so aggressive, and like there's always the one character in those movies that's like, oh, you just need to get some sleep. You're being crazy or whatever the fuck. But like when you add that onto like her getting the ultrasound and having like the baby's dreams are what's causing everything, like holy shit, it is such an aggressively fucking poorly paced movie. Like they group deaths together at the beginning, and then you got to wait a long fucking time for the next one, and then the final battle is just kind of like Duckface from Full House is the one that beats Freddy. Yeah. Um. Is there anything else?
Did you watch Superman yet?
No, I haven't. I might do that today. I gotta watch Nightmare on Elm Street 2 first.
I don't know if did you hear about the Peacemaker dance in Fortnite?
No.
Oh, they removed it because spoilers, and in the current episode of Peacemaker, it's revealed that the other Earth that he's in is a Nazi universe, or at least a Nazi America. So it's like Earth X from the comics. And the opening dance in the show, he puts one arm up and then puts it down, and then the other arm up and then puts it down. And the idea that's going around, and it hasn't been confirmed, but like the dance references like swastikas. So
Jesus.
the first season, the there was the representation of like the butterflies later on in the show. So that's what the talk. So Fortnite like removed the dance from the game, which is funny that it was even in there if that's true. I mean, it does seem like it when you look at the background and stuff. It does seem like that's what they're referencing with the dance. But it's just funny that it even made the game. But also they've got like Kanye West and that dude that apparently murdered a girl recently in Fortnite, and they're still there, like their songs or whatever. So it sounds like they've got other stuff to worry about.
Jesus Christ. Also, did you hear the hip young brand of NXT is doing the Invasion pay-per-view from
Jesus
24 years
Christ,
ago?
I saw that logo and I laughed my ass off because like just the idea of it, and like the invasion being like the most fumbled storyline of all time, and you're using that name and the same logo, and it's for fucking NXT against TNA. It's just hilarious to me.
Is the Invasion the biggest bag fumble ever, or is it the Cena retirement run at this point?
Oh, I would say it's the invasion still, because what it was supposed to represent, right? Like WCW against WWF was, I mean, you couldn't really get bigger than that.
No, but like the Cena retirement run, they bungled every fucking opportunity with this. Like they finally did the Cena heel turn. It sucked. Nobody liked it. They basically noped their way out of it. They've done none of the big matches that people actually cared about in a way that would have made people actually want to see them. Like the invasion, they pissed away just because they didn't want to sign people. This one, they had everybody in place and they fucking pissed it away. Those
Yeah,
are the top two I can think of for WWE. Like, just what the fuck?
yeah. It's just for me
But
too. It's like the invasion. I feel like, I mean, it did. It led to like the downfall of the popularity of wrestling as a whole, like going down. Um, and the scene I think is definitely being bungled. I just don't think it's as important, but I also don't
no, it's
care.
not.
You
Yeah,
know?
there's that too. I think with the invasion, wrestling's popularity was going to slide anyway because WCW went away, and like
Yeah.
those fans, like that was still their wrestling. They were just like, "Fuck it, I'm gone." I think
Hmm.
more than bungling the invasion angle, you know what actually does kill the popularity of the Fed? The fucking Steve Austin heel turn.
Yeah,
And
that's
I'm not
true.
even talking the ending of Mania 17. I'm talking the ending of Invasion, where
Yeah.
all of the people that were WWF fans were like, "Oh, he's gonna kick." He fucking turns. The show goes off the air with Steve Austin, the WWF champion, the symbol of them winning the fucking Monday Night War, siding with the other group.
It's funny how they go like they fuck up the invasion and then just a few months later they fuck up the NWO really bad too. You know, it's like they just couldn't get anything right, you know? Um but in regards to like this current storyline, to me it's just it's like sad, you know? You're
I
looking
don't
at the
care about TNA.
no, but it's also like you look at the talent that's in the ring, it's like you've got Cedric Alexander who was just released from WWE. You've got like Xia Li, who like originated in
Was just released
WWE.
from WWE.
You've got the Iconics from WWE. You've got like Frankie Kazarian and like I don't know if Maya Said was there, but she was just released from WWE. You've got all these former WWE people like WWE said like they're not good enough to be here, and I'm supposed to take this seriously, and it's just sad. It's fucking stupid. It's I don't know how anyone can enjoy it, to be honest.
And Santana from AEW is apparently like he's the top TNA guy now, which
My God.
he's not even a bad wrestler, but if that's your top guy, man, Jesus Christ. And
Yeah, it's
also in all of this, they've made Joe Hendry, who like out of everybody on that TNA roster, he's the one guy the WWE fans are going to be predisposed to liking because he's got an entrance, and then when the bell rings, there's nothing going on.
yep,
And they
exactly.
bitched him so fucking hilarious. Like I was giggling when I saw the thing with Randy Orton at Mania. I was like thigh slapping. Fuck, it was like a Young Bucks match. I was laughing my fucking ass off. Because
And
if you're in TNA and you see that, how the fuck do you view that as a positive?
oh, they found a way. They're like, oh,
Well,
you got
because they're Mark.
exposure and all this, blah blah blah. And doesn't isn't it the point now like where NXT almost has like all of TNA's titles and TNA doesn't have any of NXT's? Like I know Kalani Jordan just won the Knockouts title. It's just like what's the point of this? What's the invasion? There's no invasion unless you're talking about NXT invading TNA. So it's definitely not the other way around.
Was was Kalani Jordan the one that posted the picture of the RVD DVD? And people on Twitter were like, "She's gonna be an all timer," and I'm like, "You can watch whatever the fuck you want, but if you're not trained properly, it doesn't matter."
It was probably her because she does like the split-legged moonsault and stuff.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I watched Collision up until the Eddie Kingston and Hook versus Test and Brian Keith match, and I was like, I think I'm gonna go to bed.
That hologram's out.
Very good show. Yeah, I wonder what happened there
So, but I guess
because they
Clone's still coming in, right?
he has to, right?
Sounds like he's going to be part of the Callis family if he's going to be with Kyle Fletcher then.
Maybe. I I saw they announced Dynamite as a 2.5 hour special Wednesday, which I mean, with the overruns, sometimes Dynamite's basically just a 2.5 hour show anyway.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that show. There's a couple of big trios matches. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Orange Cassidy versus Kyle Fletcher looks like. Moxley and Darby at Wrestle Dream with the challenge with the flamethrower that creates a certain set of expectations for the finish of that match.
I guess
Uh,
for getting the women's blood and guts, probably not. I don't think it's Wednesday, but sometime in the future.
I think the next chance it would be reasonable when they go to Boston because
Yeah,
that's a bigger venue. I
and we're
mean,
getting
really,
the
what they should do is do it on Full Gear, but
yeah, we're getting the women's tag titles too.
yeah, yeah.
Be interesting to
I
see
mean,
if FWC from Stardom is a part of that because they've been appearing in different places recently. So
I I again for the sake of parity, it's probably good they have the women's tag titles, but they're going to need some really killer tag teams because you can't have like Ty J carry that fucking division.
no, it'll be like I was trying to think of the teams that would be in it. Probably like Megan Bayne, Penelope Ford, and I'd have. But I feel it's going to be Mina
Harley
and
Cameron and Willow, maybe Mina and
I
Tony
think
Storm. That feels like an obvious pick.
yeah, or like Queen Aminata, but I feel like she may be with Jimmy Hayter based on Collision. Um, yeah, we'll see. I think it should be a pretty good tournament. Did you see that Kamatani and Hanan had a match on TBS this past few days
No,
in Japan? Not TBS in the States. So it's like the first
yeah,
time
Tokyo
women's
Broadcasting System.
yeah, the first time women's wrestling has been on terrestrial TV in Japan in like 25 years or something like that.
That's
Maybe
crazy.
longer than that. Yeah, that was pretty cool that they got to do something like that. And they had a sold out Korakuen Hall for Kamatani against Izumi the other day. I watched that live. It was a fun match. So they've sold. I think Stardom's like sold out Korakuen like the most this year of like any promotion, and they've had so many um consecutive sellouts too. So they're doing really. They did a show in Osaka. I think it was like last week, and from what I understand, Osaka's kind of like a cold market for them. And they had like an 8-woman tag at the start of the show, and like the crowd was like super hot throughout the whole match, and I think that was sold out as well. So they're doing really really well, and I just hope that keeps up. I know Kamatani she really wants Stardom to run the Tokyo Dome. So if they were to do that, or if they were to get like all these women's promotions together, like back in the day, and do like a Tokyo Dome show, would be awesome. So yeah, Stardom's like still on fire right now, and it's really cool to see because the women in that promotion are, like super talented. Okada is probably like the best booker in the world right now, or at least that's my opinion. And yeah, I'm very happy with the position that they're in right now.
I don't know that anybody should run the Tokyo Dome at this point, men's promotions included.
Well, it just depends on like how popular Kamatani really is. I mean, I think she's got a ways to go, but like she's getting this mainstream push. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, it would be hard for anyone to run the Tokyo Dome, right?
I
But
mean, Togi Makabe was on those variety shows for years, and it didn't mean anything.
no, but it feels
Not that
different with her though. But maybe this is just the perspective of someone who's reading it all online, and people tend to, go overboard with their reaction to things. But it just feels like I don't know. There's like a really big push for her to be a big star outside of wrestling.
I'm just a little leery of everything with because we learned it with the Makabe stuff years ago when people acted like he was such a huge star, and you find out like no, not really. Like being on a variety show is cool, but it doesn't necessarily translate.
Mm.
And the dome costs so much money to run. I remember the estimate a few years ago was like it was a lot more than I think anybody's going to actually make unless you have like a really big fucking match that you can run. And I don't know what Stardom did the last time they ran Ryogoku, but if they're not, nobody's selling out Ryogoku at this point anyway.
They,
But
I
like,
think They sold out the tickets that were available the last time they ran it.
But how many tickets was that?
No, well, I don't know because they weren't doing like the fully, the way the seats are separated now. They aren't doing like everyone in one section like it used to be, right? It's only like one person per section or something like that.
Yeah, it's I struggle to say anybody should run the dome if they like the Yokohama Arena show was like I remember reading like 7,500, which is
Yeah.
great for Yokohama Arena because nobody fucking draws there anymore because nobody runs it because you can't draw there. But I running the dome is such an ambitious thing. Like Noah literally needed the Muto retirement to get there to do a
Mm.
respectable number. And that's like an actual big mainstream star retiring. And I nobody now is gonna fuck like we're gonna find out with Tanahashi. I don't think it's gonna matter, but we're gonna find out with Tanahashi if it's possible to still pop a big house at the dome for a retirement if you're not like one of those 90s boom period guys. But
Yeah. Well, I
it'll be
don't think
interesting if we ever do get a Joshi show at the dome again.
yeah, I don't think Stardom would actually run it unless they're quite certain that the attendance is gonna be, something to something that would be worth it, right? Like I despite what she might want to do, like I don't think they're gonna rush it. They're probably gonna
Yeah,
see how things work out and then decide what they want to do in the future. But it's an interesting idea. Like it would be really cool to see women's wrestling in the Tokyo Dome again.
yeah, it would. I just that's like the one venue when I hear people say they want to run it. Like when Keno for years was saying like I'm going to take Noah back to the Budokan, and it's like okay, buddy, okay,
Yeah.
sure you can. Like I get a little leery when I hear like oh my dream is to run this really huge venue that people like the if the top men's promotion doesn't sell it out, it even if like a Joshi promotion's on fire, they might draw as well as New Japan does because it's again it's different when it's Ryogoku to when it's the fucking dome.
Mm.
But it'd be interesting to see. I'm so curious to see what the hell the Tanahashi retirement show is going to look like card wise for one, and also like who does he work? What does the crowd look like? I know it's being broadcast live for the first time in fucking forever.
Yeah, that's right.
Like not a WPW live on like CS Asahi. It's on like BS Asahi, like broadcast system, like the fucking big one. So I mean that's
Yeah,
cool.
it's
I wish it was, a different era of New Japan when they had, a fucking roster, but
yeah. I know like AJ Styles said he wants to wrestle him again, but that's not gonna happen. And I know
no.
people would like Shinsuke to wrestle him again, but obviously that's not gonna happen. So I don't know. I don't know what you do for his final match.
It feels like they were talking about like Uemura versus Tanahashi,
Maybe.
which yeah. I know Shibata voiced interest in wanting to have the match, but he's not allowed on New Japan shows anymore. So
Yeah. Um Also like going back to women's wrestling for a second, Mari Gold announced Mayu Iwatani versus Io Sky for the Ryogoku show. Um which should be like a great match because they know each other very well. Um Obviously through Stardom, I mean they were the top stars there with Kyrie. And that was another thing that was like a big deal to people online, but like I don't think they did very well attendance wise when Io went over there and wrestled Utami. And like there's more history with her and Mayu, but like I don't know how that show's gonna do. I think people are like Marigold's in a better position than it was last year, but like I don't know. I don't see any like real heat coming from that promotion. It's still, very much behind Stardom and even behind um like other groups as well. Um so I don't know, we'll see.
wrestling's popularity as a whole, especially in Japan, is in a really strange spot. It's
Yeah,
going to be
it's
interesting to see where things are this time next year.
Japan is like an odd one because you see like you think of like a venue like Korakuen, which is like obviously a historic venue, and you see that it's full up, and you're like, oh, that's cool. But you've also got to realize that it's not really a big building, you know?
No, it's like legit like 1,500 people, which is why when I see promotions claiming like 1,700 or whatever, I'm like, okay. You
Yeah,
know, maybe
and then
the fire codes weren't being like back in the day. They would put 2,000 people in Cork, and you would just see people on top of people. But
yeah,
like not now.
you'd see the standing room up top would always be full as well. I feel like you'd
Yeah.
even see that on shows like Big Mouth Loud, even when it wasn't popular. I feel like those shows did pretty well. I might be wrong.
Well, they also had a lot of local sponsors in the crowd.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But I'm thinking about maybe taking the day off for the dome next year and just seeing what the fuck happens with it. I don't know though. Like
I don't know. Once
Tanahashi doesn't
once
mean that much to me.
once they announce the card, you might not want to.
Yeah. Well, also given things I described before we started recording, I kind of want to be there as little as possible anyway.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think I'm free the next several weeks too, just the way the calendar's shaking out. I'm pretty sure I'm off at least the next. Yeah, I'm off like the next like 3 Sundays, maybe four. So we can record next week. I don't know what the fuck we're going to talk about. We can't talk about
Uh,
HAL Wrestling and pro wrestling anymore. That carrot has been dangled and retrieved.
Finally. Um,
Yeah,
Geez, I'm trying to
totally didn't
think.
take
Well,
like 2 fucking years to get there.
yeah, I'm trying to think else what we could go through.
We
Um,
we talked about champion wrestler for the PlayStation. That's unfortunate. We could start doing the individual reviews of the Acclaim games.
oh God. Okay.
Yeah, so WWF WrestleMania for NES next week.
Okay. Did we
Um,
did we
until
not talk
then,
about that previously by itself?
no, we did the rare games as an episode, and we did the sculpture software games as an episode.
Ah, right. Okay.
But we didn't do them individually, and why not recycle content at this point? So yeah, that'll be next week. We'll start talking about the rare LJN Acclaim Flying Edge sculptured software Acclaim Salt Lake City games with the first one WrestleMania. And until that time, take care and don't be an asshole.